I didn't even try with your surname yet. Shamba.
Hi, good afternoon. We are here at the Methodist Church and I'm joined by Rev Gill Marsh.
Lovely to meet you.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you
It's cold,
too.
it's freezing.
I know, it's British weather. Yeah.
Well, we're here on a Friday.
Yeah.
And there's an event going on out there.
Yep. It's
Zimbabwean
the Zimbabwean
Association.
Christmas party today.
Wow, Christmas party.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Tell us about it.
Well, the Zimbabwean Association have been meeting here since April.
Yeah.
It's an independent charity. It's part of a national network of Zimbabwean associations.
Right.
Leicester drop in, and they've been meeting here regularly, doing a fantastic amount of different things. And it's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
So we're celebrating. Yeah.
So how did you get to know about the Zimbabwean? Because I didn't tell you I'm Zimbabwean.
No, you didn't. No, a lot of Zimbabweans are Methodists.
Yeah.
A lot of Methodist Church is big in Zimbabwe, and we've got a very multinational congregation here. So some of our members were part of the Zimbabwean Association, and they asked if they could use the space, and it's just been brilliant to have you all with us. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how is it every Friday that they have their...
Every other Friday at the moment,
Friday.
yeah.
Right.
And it's a drop-in, so people from Zimbabwe come, they just meet friends, they support each other. There's obviously a bit of practical advice, Zimbabwean food, Zimbabwean singing. Yeah. So yeah, fantastic.
Have you tasted Zimbabwean food yourself?
I have, yeah, and enjoyed it, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's great. Talking about Zimbabweans themselves, I understand some of them are in a some predicament, the asylum seekers. Some of them are refugees. Do you help them in the dropping during the dropping?
Well, the Zimbabwean Association is fantastically helpful. I know we've got members of our church that have found a lot of support from other Zimbabweans who understand the system and understand what it's like to be over here in a freezing cold country when you're from somewhere warm. Yeah. As a church, we basically support the people within our own congregation, anybody else that wants help if we can. We don't offer particular legal advice, but there are people in the Zimbabwean Association that seem to know about the asylum system, which is great.
Great,
yeah.
Great. I mean, it's something to give a hand and help people in such a situation.
I'm always incredibly impressed by the community spirit, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, parts of Britain still have that, but it is something we've lost in parts of Britain, and as churches, obviously, we're struggling to make sure that we care for each other. But the Zimbabwean Association seems to me to have this really strong community spirit.
And one thing with the Zimbabwean community, Zimbabwe is a predominantly Christian country, so they have a strong faith in Christianity. And
I remember the first Zimbabwean I ever met, which was maybe 5 or 6 years ago now, and he'd seen some really terrible things in the fighting that was going on at home, and I said to him, how on earth do you cope with keeping a positive view of God when you've seen all this? And he said, well, actually in Zimbabwe we don't blame God for the things that people are doing to each other. We know that it's not God's fault that people are treating each other like this, so I think there's a really good political awareness in the Zimbabwean Association, which is brilliant, and from my point of view, it's part of faith and part of the kingdom of God, really, to care about the politics as well as to care about the economics and everything else.
True.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot going on out there and we need to catch up with them. One last question. If you would give a message, I know you give sermons.
I do.
What message would you give to people of Leicester in general?
Well, I think, that Christmas is all about the fact that God cares enough to share our human life. And whenever I'm talking to people who are having a hard time, I think it's really brilliantly hopeful to know that God does understand that and has been through it and is actually there with us in it. And that's what the incarnation is all about, because, Jesus' own family were refugees. And he was born, displaced basically, country. And certainly in a different setting, and that's hugely hopeful, isn't it? That God's there with us in it, which I think is what gives a lot of Zimbabweans their positive approach to even the worst things, really.
Powerful.
So we're really, really glad to have people, and it's encouraged us in our faith as well, I have to say, because a lot of people in Britain have it very easy, and in the city centre we tend to work with a lot of people who don't have it easy at all, and everyone's welcome, genuinely welcome, and we've learned a lot from each other.
The Lord Mayor is coming today, isn't he?
He is. We better go and meet him.
We better go and meet him.
Yeah.
Reverend,
okay.
Thank you ever so much.
It's a real pleasure.
Thank you.